be and will be the same. So we just try to avoid on the first game fights. Then we will try to play our game depending on the timings.
Off this interview by asking you to give a message to the rest of the teams that you'll be facing here at the final day of survival stage.
We are Power Esports and we don't fear anyone. We will try our best to beat every single team.
Nice, thank you so much for joining me and good luck.
You're welcome.
A Sandhog game, not ending on the Northwest Island. It's Christmas. We've got ourselves a brilliant game coming out from Arena, who were able to control the cliff sides, able to dominate the rest of the competition here in the jungle. Welcome back. I'm breaking down this game alongside Neptura, as well as Maxman here. And we have got good old Arena with a brilliant little win here, Maxman.
Oh, yeah, good old SEA chicken dinner. We love to see it. No, it was a very solid game from them. They were playing a very good compound on the road trifecta next to bootcamp the entirety of the game. It kept shifting away, and they played it very safe, playing on the lower side of the cliff, trying to avoid all of these big early fights, all the early altercations, and because of that, a lot of the teams were wounded, and that's how they can sneak their way into the circle to get the win, especially thanks to Mormon's angle.
Yes, Max. No, I'm doing that as a meme. I'm doing it as a meme. No, I did like how they played that. They were able to really effectively use the back of the zone to actually use that and to make sure that nobody else was going to come in. Use that kind of as a wall to just push forward and forward and forward, and it worked out really brilliantly for them. However, they're not going to be at the top of that ranking in terms of points. It's going to be Hora, who did step up in the end game, just trying to third party as much as possible, and look where it's gotten them.
Hurrah! No, they're very excited about that game.
Oh
no, we're doing it again. No, actually, they were on a big sweeping motion onto the eastern side, just clearing all the teams. They got rid of R8. They had a really good compound control. Very strong third party, specifically onto the side of GMX. They were fighting another squad over there. I think it was Falcons. And actually just able to take full control of the east. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get the chicken dinner, but it was enough to be the top team in terms of points overall. So Hora really starting to play a lot more aggressive, which normally in CSA they're quite a bit more passive, but here they've really woken up and know that if they want to make it in the top 8, they need to get elimination points on board.
Definitely come alive in the survival stage, right? I mean, there were moments in the group stage that I don't think we should really discredit too much here, but for survival, looking brilliant here, Neptura, and considering the position that they were coming in from, considering everything, all the components of this game, I think it lined up really nicely.
It did land really nicely, and I think it's been really interesting to see how they adapt to the more global lobby, because you're right, we've seen something kind of very different from them in CSA, but to come into global and not so much control with that more passive just zone control that we're so used to seeing, it is actually controlling with those third parties, which isn't full aggression. It's not a full confrontation 4v4 fight. So it is tweaking it, but it is just making sure that they are more aggressive, able to get more points, and actually reading the lobby really well.
Especially in CSA, I kept describing them as a very good defensive team. We take a strong position, we defend until the very end. It's nice to see them be an aggressive team looking for breaches and third parties and then being successful while doing so. And I think that gives me really good hype around them as to how they could play going into the finals, of course, if they qualify, but they're looking pretty good. So I think the top 8 is in the cards for them.
We have our eye on them. And another team that we have our eye on, of course, is Falcons coming into today, who actually got dispatched of relatively quickly by good old GMX down towards the bottom of the tables here, Max, who are fighting back. Let's take a look at one of these moments here and see kind of how things went down.
GMX taking heads. Okay, they take down Alpha 7 and Falcons, 2 favorites. So we had at the very start, like, they're going to make it top 8 pretty easily. But no, GMX are here. And actually, the first fight they took was against none other than Alpha 7. Alpha 7, by the way, did not have a bad game here because they actually had a really good rotate. They go from their 2-2 split, regroup on this compound, but GMX, they find one knock, maybe an angle of Alpha 7 was just not fully covered. And I tell you, the speed at which they committed was mind-boggling. They fully send on the compound, all 4 players, overwhelm Alpha 7 in the matter of 10 to 15 seconds, and the squad wipe is instantaneous. GMX, if they want to do a comeback here to make it in the top 8 against teams like Alpha 7, they got to keep this going the entire day, and maybe top 8 could be possible for them.
Another team I want to focus on, of course, here is Fireflux. They've done amazingly here in the survival stage, but just slipping a little bit here in the final moments, Neptura.
Yeah, I think we thought they were going to win. You were like, yeah, they're Fireflux, they're going to win. But I think at that point, the at the point that when they tried to actually do something, it was too late because they had the low ground and that particular ridgeline or hillside was so open.
Yeah.
Hora had eyes on them. Arena had eyes on them. It would have been much better if they had maybe one zone before, at least just like 30 seconds before, right before the zone closes. Use that space that's technically outside a zone to wrap around outside and come in behind Arena. I think that would have had a much better chance for them to win longevity-wise because Arena were just able to use that ridge so effectively. That could have been Fireflux if they'd been a bit more proactive.